together, and there's multiple teams. There's only 2 teams, and it's 3 boats versus 3 other boats. All right? So, does anyone know what a winning combination is?
1, 2, and any other thing.
Yeah, so a winning combination basically is what wins you the race. And to do that, you have to finish with the lowest amount of scores. So, as Liz said, if you get first and second, it doesn't matter what any other place your third boat gets, you'll automatically win. And an easy way to remember this is if your score adds up to 10 or less, then you've won the race. So you can have a 2, 3, 4, which adds up to 9. You've won the race. All right. So a winning combination can be any one of those sets that adds up to that adds up to 10 or less. All right. So the goals of a team race are to win, first of all. We want to win. So how can we win?
Getting less points.
Getting less points.
Maintain winning combination.
But what can you do to maintain a winning combination?
Fast. Sail fast.
Sail fast. So yeah, we want to have good boat speed first. And along with that, boat handling. All right, so if everyone has good boat speed and good boat handling, what happens next?
Tactics.
Tactics. Now, what kind of tactics can you use on another boat? What can make another boat go faster that you yourself can do? Anyway.
Cover another boat.
Cover. Wait, what makes another boat go fast?
No. What? Slower. Sorry. I said bear with me, David. All right. So covering. Who doesn't know what covering is? All right, I'm going to explain it anyways, even if you did. So, as Will talked last week, there's a certain area behind your boat. There's one where there's dirty air or disturbed air. And it's about 2 boat lengths or so. So, where this dirty air is, you can put this dirty air on another boat. So the goal is to position yourself to where you can slow down another boat and let your teammate that's maybe behind this boat tack out, sail over here while you continue to give this boat dirty air. This boat will go slower. And actually what we do when we're team racing in 420s and FJs is we'll luff the jib to slow down. And so we'll keep going slower and slower, and your teammate will be able to pass this boat, and it's called a pass back. Okay? So it all comes down to pass backs and controlling the other boats.
So basically, you're on a team with 2 other boats, like of Michigan people, and you're just trying to like screw over the boats on the other team and help your team get the winning combination. This is like in a nutshell, but there are many ways to do it.
All right, so we talked about covering to do pass backs. Does anyone know how else we can do a pass back?
Mark trap.
Mark traps. All right. I'll write up here. All right, and there are several rules with mark traps where you can use your overlap as an advantage to hold off another boat. All right? And this is why we learn about the rules of sailing, because you can use these rules to manipulate other boats and pass them back. All right? So, Will, I don't know what you have planned.
What all did you say so far?
Intro, right here. That's it.
All right, good. Maybe you should stay up here with me either way. Hey, come on. We can do this. Okay, so
There you go.
you covered, okay, goals.
The science of team racing.
Okay, can you pull up a video with us from Nationals? Just so people know what it's like.
Video of us from
I know. There's one where I break rule 19 and get a penalty, but it was really good filming. Okay, so you cover the goals. Now, all the other rules that we learned so far, team racing is a time when it really tests them, because most of the rules, if you're just going in a windward leeward and you're staying away from other boats and you're not being sloppy, the rules never really come into play. But in team racing, you're constantly using the rules to your advantage and to win. You're not purposely trying to get penalties on other boats. You're trying to get them to do what you want, and if they don't do it, then they get a penalty. That's the better way to think about it. So the first thing we'll cover is the course. Yeah, that looks good.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, okay, watch it. So the first thing we'll cover is the course, and that's different. I like the science part of it. Nice job. Definitely getting erased. Okay, so the course is a little bit different, but it's still easy to remember. It's called a digital N. You have your windward mark right here, and then you have an offset mark. You call this the offset mark because when you round it, there's an imaginary line that, like, you have to round it this way. We'll get to that though. New this year, there's an offset at the leeward mark too. Nope. In high school there was, but last year there wasn't. Okay, so the wind is coming from the top of the board. Off the start, we'll just follow race. Tacking back and forth. Round the top mark. Broad reach. Raise your hand if you know what broad reach means. Yay, okay, we'll cover it anyways. The wind's coming from right here, and your sails are like that. Here's your direction. You're on a broad reach when you're sailing like that. So, you round the windward marks. You sail on a broad reach. You round the leeward marks and the offset, and then you sail upwind for a finish. So, what they purposely did with team racing is they gave you two huge opportunities for passing. Marks are the biggest, and they're the easiest to pass a lot of boats fast. So, coming into marks, you're always assessing, is Rule 18 on? What's Rule 18? Overlap, whether someone has the right to go inside of you. Oh, nice. Now guys,
If they don't, you have to yell, "Don't go in there."
don't go in there.
That's serious.
Okay, so last week what we learned was if two boats like this enter the zone for a mark at the 3 boat length circle, if they enter overlapped, oh, good call. Team racing is 2 boat lengths. We're in a 2 boat length circle here, guys. If they enter overlapped and they're both on starboard tack, in fleet racing, when they get to this point, this boat is obligated to round the mark. By the rules, it says you have to follow proper course, and this boat has to round the mark, so they'll both round together. The difference is in team racing, what we call proper course means the direction that you sail to get to the finish line as fast as possible. That applies in fleet racing. It doesn't apply in team racing in some instances. In an instance like this boat does not have to follow proper course. He can sail straight away and block this boat, because if he's right on his hip, what's he going to do? They have to keep going together, so he sets a pick. Meanwhile, this boat's buddy is right here, and he'll go inside there while these 2 boats are sailing off into nowhere. So you have to use picks like that. You get a good video?
You could watch the moment. Then it shows us not being taped on. By saying that.
All right, find a good spot to. All right, so this is the first move that you can do. It's called a mark trap. Mark traps are when you enter the 2 boat length circle inside and overlapped with another boat, and you hold him out so your teammate can come in and go inside you, and then both of them can round after you. So mark traps are something that you'll call out, like if you're in certain combinations, and we'll talk about combinations next. When would you do a mark trap? For starters, do a mark trap when one of your teammate yells, do a mark trap. We'll get to why though. Let's cover, before we get into any more moves, I want to cover how scoring works. So once again, it's 3 Michigan boats versus 3 Harvard boats, or 3 MIT, whatever, doesn't matter. And when you have the 3 boats, you have totals under 10 win. Yeah, 10 and under. So if Michigan gets a first, a second, and anything, they win. Because 1, 2, 6 is what? 9? Good? Okay, good. Okay. 1, 2, anything wins. 1, 2 is a combination. If you start a race and your team has a controlling one, first and second, then that first and second does not care what's happening to the rest of their team. They don't care if their other boat's getting like blocked by 4, all of them at a mark. Literally nothing. 1, 2 puts on their jetpack like Ryan and just sends it. In high school, we would get into situations sometimes where we'd be yelling for Ryan's help, and he'd be like a leg ahead. So that's the jetpack. All right, the next, the next combination is 1, 3. 1, 3, anything wins. Now, if you have first and third, that's kind of a shady combination, because all that takes is this number 2 boat to slow down 3, and all of a sudden you're in a 1, 4. And a 1, 4 is fine if you have the 5. But once again, this is not a very stable combination, because your enemy is a 2 and 3 right here. You have 2 on 2 boats, and the first place boat can't really come back for help. All he can really do is try and slow down the second and the third boat. Next combination, well, the next combination, this is actually a really stable combination. Who wants to guess what makes this stable?
You're all good.
Perfect. So those are the winning combinations. Now,
We have a
What?
shirt, if you guys have seen, the Michigan sailing team with, it's got all the bows on the back.
Matt, am I
They're all
missing any?
winning combinations.
Yeah, there's a good number.
well, 1, 2, anything, 1, 3, anything, and then 1, 4, 5.
I just add up to 10.
Yeah, that's what I do. Really, and that's kind of the best way to do it. So crews are the ones who should especially be paying attention to these combinations right now, because most of the time skippers will not have time to go 1, 2, or like, you can't count the boats when you're trying to focus on the rules. So teamwork comes in huge right now. The crews will be asked, like, what's our combination? They'll have to figure it out. Cool. 2, 3, 5. It's sketchy because the first place boat, let's say you're coming into the leeward mark, and you have, here's the first place boat on the other team, and you have the squares are like our team. Now this boat entered the 2 boat length circle inside and overlapped. So they have right away, they own this zone, and if the first place boat does it right, he will block them so all these boats can't go around, and then his buddy, who is in right behind him in 4th place, is now in 2nd, and that's game. So we covered mark trap. Mark trap is when you hold the enemy out. The next move is a pass back.
boats have gotten a lot better.
I was gonna say, right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that,
Okay, play number 2, pass back. The wind is coming from here. Oh, poor Chalk. Wind's coming from here. The sails are like that. Quick recap, covering dirty air. If you have a boat sailing upwind, wind's coming from here. Their sails are shaped like that. Their dirty air extends to windward further than you'd imagine and ends up looking like this. The shaded boats are on the same team. The move right now, let's say we're in a 1-3. First place, third place, second place is your enemy. You do a pass back. A pass back is when this boat purposely sails down. Instead of trying to get to the mark as fast as they can, they luff their jib and they stay right on top of this boat to try and give them their dirty air. If they do it right, this boat will slow down and this boat will end up all the way over here. Now, this is harder than it looks though, because this boat knows that this boat is going to try and slow them down. So the smartest thing this boat can do before this ever sets up is tack. So the way to get out of a pass back, if you see an enemy boat ahead of you and an enemy boat behind you, and you're sailing upwind, they're going to do a pass back on you. So just watch out. Now, what this boat should be doing before this enemy boat ever comes to block him, he should tack away. So he tacks away. Now what happens is we set the whole thing up again on this side. And what happened was, because this boat tacked first, now this boat is right there. And this boat is probably a little bit behind him. And he's in a dangerous position. This boat is in a dangerous position because A, his dirty air comes right here. So this boat needs to decide something to do fast. If you ask me, I would pin him. So pinning someone is the next move you talk about. Let's say our windward mark is right here. In this position, we're getting really close. What you want to do if you're this boat is sail down to right here and prevent this boat from tacking. Mind you, these two boats are on the same team. So if this boat sails down to here, pins him, his teammate will sail behind them both, round the mark ahead, and then eventually when these two boats get over here, he'll tack away, round the mark, and now that second place boat is in third place. So you can pin someone right before a mark running. So everyone know what a pass back is? Mark trap? Yeah? All right. The next thing I want to cover is starting tactics. This, if anyone's ever played basketball, this is going to sound really familiar.
So for all of you people that are just starting team racing, I know this is a lot of information. This is stuff that typically takes you like a whole season to work through. So the best thing you can do tonight is just keep taking notes on what Will's talking about. And then as we get into more and more practices, you can go back to your notebook and review kind of what we're talking about. Because it'll make a lot more sense once we get on the water.
This is one of the last things that I really want to cover with you guys tonight. So your starting tactics are zone and man-to-man. Like before, the starting sequence is 3 minutes. So you have 3 minutes to play around. The first one, I don't like this one as much, but there's always a situation, is zone. So before start, me, Matt, and Ryan will decide. Ryan will want the pin end, I'll want the boat, Matt will take the middle. So that means at the gun, I want to be at the boat, obviously, that's what it means. But the trick is, since you decided your zone, you need to fight to make sure you start where you do. Because if you don't, you could end up, like if I did not start at boat and I told everyone I was going to start at boat, I might end up right here just because I wasn't paying attention. Now I have Matt, my teammate, giving me dirty air. And there's nothing we can really do. And in any case, this zone is now left kind of untapped, and you have two enemy boats right there and they have the power because they have the right side of the course